Want this game to be played at 80 miles an hour, not 60, and Andre Turner has to do that.
This is only the second meeting between these two clubs, and Memphis State won the first one. We'll be back to introduce you to the starting lineups here from Memphis in just a moment. 1,000 here in the Mid-South Coliseum. Let's check the starting lineups. For Virginia Commonwealth University, they're 21-4. You can see their tallest starter is Mike Slagle at 6'8". Lamb and Duncan outstanding in the backcourt for J.D. Barnett's ball club. Memphis State, they're a ball club that has good size. Bedford was 7 feet. Lee at 6'10". Holmes, an excellent jumper at 6'7". And there's Turner. He's really not even 5'10". He's closer to 5'9". The officials in this game, all from the Metro Conference. Ron Zetcher from St. Louis, Nolan Fine of Virginia Beach, Virginia, and Dale Kelly from Huntington, Tennessee. So as we mentioned at the top of the show, you couldn't have two more contrasting teams.
Gary, this Virginia Commonwealth team is a team that is scrappy. They play very hard. They make up for a lack of size. And they're going to have to do that today because Memphis State is wanting to establish an inside game. Look for them to see if they can get William Bedford off early. He has a tendency sometimes to be quiet early in ball games. I'm sure Dana Kirk wants to get him going soon.
The two losses they had this year, Bedford did not play well. As you can see, Memphis State with the basketball. Andre Turner, he missed one game this year, and they lost that to Kansas.
We see Virginia Commonwealth, they're going to play a lot of multiple defenses. They switch up and keep our eye today on just all the different things they're going to do out on the floor.
Here is Baskerville Holmes at 6'7". Air ball, Lee is there. Keith Lee, a strong year, averaging over 21 points and 10 rebounds a game. Here is Lamb. Lamb is coming off of a strong week. He had 26 points against the University of Alabama, Birmingham, and Calvin Duncan buries it.
Well, this is the two people that a lot of people feel are as good a guard core as there is in the country, play very well together.
Duncan has had some shooting difficulties, but there was no problem the way that shot went in. Here's Lee again, and Schlegel. He's the key to this team. He really sets them up. Here's Lamb, intended on the break for Neil Wake, and they throw it away. Little too stiff that time, and that will set it up. Lamb has been an outstanding passer. He is setting a Sun Belt career record in assists. Here's Turner, off to Holmes. Askew, the freshman.
Virginia Commonwealth really packed back in now in a zone defense. They do a very good job of matching the shooters.
And Turner's going to have to hit that shot if they're going to pack it in like that. 4-2, Memphis State. Here is Lamb. Lamb out of the Virginia area. Up it comes to 22, Michael Brown. Here's Schlegel, 43. Duncan to Schlegel. Rebound effectively cleared by Wake. He doesn't get it to go. This is how physical this VCU team can be. They get it off to Wake, and Wake will bring it back outside to Lamb. They don't have the height, but they are muscular. Blocked beautifully by Keith Lee. Vincent Askew on the move to Turner. He's in trouble and gets it back out to Askew.
This is the tempo Memphis State wants to play. Yesterday, Dana Kirk wanted Andre to Turner to push that ball up the floor to maybe keep Virginia Commonwealth from changing defenses so much.
Turner missing, and we're going to have a foul on Duncan, however. He got a piece of Turner. Let's go back now to that block by Keith Lee.
Michael Brown today is going to have to use some shot fakes inside. He's playing against a much bigger front line. That time he just went right up for the ball, and Keith Lee swatted it back at him.
They have 108 blocks coming into this game. VCU had only 45 the start of the day as J.D. Barnett in his 6th year. We watched his practice yesterday, and I'll tell you, I was intimidated, and I wasn't even on the floor.
I was very impressed yesterday. They played the night before and traveled, and they came in, and bodies were on the floor, and they really had an intense practice.
And then Dana Kirk, the Metro Conference Coach of the Year, and last 3 years he's been in the Final 16 of the NCAA tournament. Turner makes it 5-2. Memphis State 17:56 to go in the first half.
Memphis State showing a little three-quarter trap. Yesterday, Virginia Commonwealth worked very hard yesterday, breaking that.
Calvin Duncan. Turn around, blocked by Bedford. Bedford leading the Metro Conference in blocked shots. Comes up with another one. That might get him started. He's been a slow starter at times. Turner on the move down the middle, and we have a foul. Let's look at another block this time. William Bedford.
Calvin Duncan going to go strong with the shot. William Bedford coming over to block it again, Gary. When you play against bigger people, you've got to pump fake them, get them off balance, and then maybe you can turn that block shot into a foul.
That was his 62nd block shot of the year. Now remember, VCU as a team has only 45. That foul, by the way, was on Lamb, his first. 5-2 Memphis State.
Virginia Commonwealth, when they're in their zone, they're in a 3-2 right now. They play a lot of man-to-man principles. They front the post. They get a lot of weak side help.
Bedford kicking it off to Keith Lee. They can't turn him loose there. Rebound effectively by Lamb. They only have a +1 rebound for the year. VCU not with that good size. Virginia Commonwealth now has missed 4 shots in a row, trailing 5-2 in this game.
Surprised that Rolando Lamb is not looking to get open down low against Andre Turner. He has a very big height advantage over him right now. They're in a man-to-man defense. Good
rebound by Neil Wake. He is the guy that they can't afford to have in that starting lineup, even though the stats are not that good. Another block by Lee, and it's going to be off of Memphis State. Lamb was out of bounds. You think maybe Memphis State's established some defense here early?
Well, they blocked 3 shots early in this ball game. 2 by the guards, Lamb and Duncan, and 1 by Michael Brown. Their 3 leading scorers have all had a shot blocked.
I know that this VCU team is intimidated easily, but that has to have some impact on you. Here's Askew. He's been having some shooting difficulty, and we'll look at that later. In it goes Bedford. He gets in low like that, there's no way to stop him.
Well, we see early in the game here also that Keith Lee is on the perimeter. Dana Kirk told us yesterday if they started in zone, you'd probably see Keith Lee on the outside, and that's where he's been today.
So Bedford with a block shot and a basket, that might get him going. He's had those games where he disappears and they can't afford it. VCU is 1 of 7 now from the field. Schlegel, CE respects Bedford. Nice pass into Wake, and the rebound Bedford broken up. Here comes Turner. 15:44 to go, first half, 7-2, Memphis State. And right now, the Tigers are playing very well at both ends of the floor.
They're rebounding the ball well. They're taking advantage of the open court. If it's not there, Andre Turner's pulling it back and running a nice set play. Keith Lee on the post up there. And right now, Gary, this inside game has been too much for Virginia Commonwealth. Really getting good inside penetration in Memphis State.
Lamb throws it away. That's their second turnover. Remember, Memphis State has won 19 straight here. That's over 2 years. They're 13-0 this year. Baskerville Holmes, that's got to be a charge. No, it's going to be a block on Neil Wake. Substitution getting ready to come in now. Robert Dickerson, 15, will check in for VCU. Wake will get out of there. Dickerson is instant offense for this team. We have a timeout with 15:02 to go in the first half. Memphis State, the strong inside game that Memphis State has had.
Gary, this is a great play by Keith Lee. He's got 2 people on him. He's going to seal with his body. He's going to throw a nice little pass from Andre Turner. He's going to go up strong. He never brings the ball down. He keeps it up high. Excellent play there by Memphis State.
Shows his good hands, too, the way he caught the ball. Live action, Bedford missing. Baskerville Holmes bomber. And it's 11-2, and Memphis State is rolling.
The inside strength of Memphis State is just so powerful. Virginia Commonwealth got to get their body on people on the boards.
Virginia Commonwealth has missed their last 7 shots after hitting their first. They're 1 of 8. Here's Dickerson, who had just checked in before that last break. Last basket for the Rams at the 18:22 mark. Turner on the steal. Lamb at the other end. I get the feeling VCU hasn't found their tempo yet.
I really believe those block shots have taken them out of their rhythm.
Dickerson missing. Bedford rips it down. All 7 foot of him, and Schlegel giving away too much height. He can't come up with it. Turner again. J.D. Barnett's team trailing 15-2. And look at him. He's trying to steady him down. That's exactly right. They just haven't found their flow yet.
Andre Turner is so important to this Memphis State team.
Alvin Duncan. Duncan, you recall, is the only guy to hit a shot for him. Lamb missing. Rebound cleared effectively by Michael Brown. He can't get it, tipped up and in beautifully that time.
That's the first time that VCU's been able to get a multiple shot at the basket. That time 3 shots before Schlegel with the tip in. That's what they've got to do, Gary. Pound the boards.
Schlegel at 6'8", 235. He's got a lot of bulk in there and a nice follow, and they needed that one. 13:26 to go, first half. Lee, look how he catches the ball. He catches it so well, those long arms. Here's Holmes. Askew. Askew's at 6'5", posting up on Duncan, who they list at 6'3", but the 2 inches makes a difference.
Memphis State is really flashing to the open areas against that VCU defense, finding those seams and excellent passes inside and giving them a good opportunity to score.
All the starters have scored now for Dana Kirk's team. Baseline, Duncan can't hang on. Turner's got it. 5th turnover against Virginia Commonwealth. Memphis State coming in here has won 4 in a row after losing to Kansas. VCU has won 5 in a row. Baseline, Holmes retrieves. Lee, that's his range. He can shoot from there. Rebound by Lamb. 3-on-2. Schlegel. That's pretty good play for a big man.
Well, he's a big man, and we talked yesterday about how well he passes the ball and shoots that jump shot from outside. If he can continue to shoot that ball from outside, he'll open things up a little bit inside for the guards, maybe to post up a little.
He's a great passer, very unselfish player, and he and Lee are really having a shoving match inside. Bedford to lean in. That's not a good shot for him. Look at Turner. He seems to be all over the place from the baseline. 9 points for Turner, who's probably all of 5'9" and 145 pounds. Off of Dickerson. Substitutions now. Don Franco, 33, coming into the ball game. Also Phil Stinney. A timeout. Virginia Commonwealth with their 6th turnover. They now trail 19-6. Out is as much fun to watch as the people in the ring.
Well, those Irish people love their fighters, especially Barry McGuigan.
Thus far, Virginia Commonwealth shooting only 23%. This team, Memphis State, 60%. Lee changing the shot. They've done no wrong in this ball game.
Well, they're doing it inside and outside. That time, Andre Turner with a pump fake got VCU off their feet, penetrated and dished to Keith Lee for a nice turnaround jump shot.
Here's Franco, 33, who's checked in the ball game. Biggest lead of the game now. Jumper by Brown, and that's his spot. Brown's a good shooter. He's shooting 55%.
The importance of VCU shooting well, Gary, on the season, they're 18-1 when they shoot 50%, 4-3 when they shoot less than 50%, so they've got to increase their shooting.
Memphis State, that's their first turnover of the game. 6 for VCU, the first against Memphis State. 11:06 to go, first half.
This VCU team is a good road team. They're a mature team. They're going to battle back. They're not going to let this crowd and being down intimidate them. They'll keep pounding away at you. They're
8-3 on the road, and through the years, J.D. Barnett has won almost 64% of his games on the road. That's impressive. They need it now. They need to establish themselves. Brown out to Schlegel. They got to have those shots going because they're not going to get the follows. And over the back is Spinney. Spinney, check that, Alvin Robinson committing the foul. 10:41, and here is a score as Georgetown is beating Connecticut. Do you believe Connecticut beat Syracuse for 2 times this year?
Almost by the identical scores, too.
I know it. That is the final, by the way. And Georgetown now seems to be, Doug, in really on the stretch drive form. They're playing very well.
Well, they lost those 2 games in a row, and they've got it together now.
Turner into lead. Triple teamed him. Baskerville Holmes tries to keep it alive. It's retrieved instead by Franco. 21-8 Memphis State with 10:17 to go in the first half. Michael Brown, he hit one earlier. He's approaching 1,000 points in his career, which would give VCU 4 players that'd be over 1,000 points in the starting lineup.
It's an amazing statistic when you think about it. These guys have played together, Michael Brown and the other 3 seniors, over 86 games together. That's a lot of maturity and experience together.
You saw how old some of those guys are on the top of the show. Holmes, that was a tough shot. Lee will be called for the foul, following over the back. Keith Lee. The previous 3 years, the Keith Lee era has taken the Tigers to the final 16 of the NCAA. A lot of people thought he might go pro. He wanted to come back his senior year. His club right now with a 21-2 record. Team right now leading by 11. You kind of get the feeling, though, the Rams are starting to stabilize a little bit.
They are. They've stopped the bleeding a little bit now, and if they can get Rolando Lamb and Calvin Duncan going, they can get back in this game.
Brown missing. Turner on the break. The creative one. That ball, an air ball, but Lee is there. That shows you how well Lee runs the floor.
When VCU forces a tough shot, they've got to rebound it. They can't allow a second shot for a layup. That'll just break your back.
Lee with 8 points. Keith Lee has historically this year been a slow starter and then coming on in the second half. But in this game, he's off very well, and there's going to be a foul on Askew. Oklahoma, who has really been rolling through the Big 8, leading Kansas at halftime 42-40. They could clinch the Big 8 title with that victory. They've already got a tie, and coming in for the first time, the white Boyd. Boyd number 31, a freshman out of Memphis. I'm Gary Bender along with Doug Collins. 9 minutes left to go in this first half. Memphis State with a 23-10 lead over Virginia Commonwealth. After hitting their first shot, VCU missed 7 in a row, but now have started to come back a little bit. Calvin Duncan, rebound. Alvin Robertson, but he walked with it. Alvin Robertson is just a freshman. He was redshirted a year ago with a knee injury, and they're trying to get some size in there. He's 6'9".
Yes, J.D. Barnett told us yesterday that for Alvin Robinson to get in the game, he's going to need his size. And nice rebound there, but just couldn't get his feet together. Was called with a traveling violation as Bedford checks back into the ball game, replacing Baskerville Holmes, who was very much a force on the offensive board here early.
Kept that ball alive, didn't he? Memphis State has had 8 second chance points in this game. VCU only 1. Keith Lee, he's a double figure.
When you don't have a legitimate shot blocker, Keith Lee can just turn around and take that ball and shoot it and not be concerned about anyone making him change his shot. That makes you a much more confident shooter.
Well, Duncan and Lamb, the backcourt tandem, really haven't done anything in this ball game. They're the guys that have carried them all year long, averaging over 30 points between them.
Well, Memphis State's man-to-man defense really did a good job. Now they've got out to a zone and extending William Bedford out on the point to discourage the shooting of Calvin Duncan.
There's Duncan able to hit one. Calvin, his sophomore year, was the co-player of the year in the Sun Belt Conference. Last year dropped down statistically. He's picked up his game this year. Now Wake will come back into the ball game. Franco will sit down. 25-12 Memphis State.
Gary, VCU calls all their defenses out. They're a very sophisticated team. I'm very surprised that his team can pick up all these things, but I think with all the games they've played together, they just know where they're supposed to be and know what each other's going to do out on the floor.
What they actually do is they flash cards to the sides. It's hard to pick them up, though. They disguise them as best they can. But he has everything broken down by computer, how many times they're in a certain offense and a certain defense. Bedford. Rebound, Whaley Beckton for a moment, who's checked into the ball game. Here is Boyd chasing it down. Duncan with a steal, and it's going to be a traveling. That's 8 turnovers now against the Rams. Timeout. 7:32 to go in the first half. Memphis State, 4th ranked in the country, off to a very impressive start in this game with a 25-12 lead. Virginia Commonwealth trying to get back into this one. 25-12, Memphis State with the lead. You see the time remaining in the first half. We were mentioning the backcourt, Doug Collins of VCU. Duncan and Lamb have hit only 2 of 7 shots between them.
Well, that's the Memphis State defense getting a hand in their face. I think blocking those shots early in the game really discouraged them.
Beckton's in there. This is Boyd, Turner, along with Bedford and Lee for Dana Kirk's team. Lamb, along with Wake, Brown, and Duncan. They've got their original starting 5 back in now. As Boyd hits from outside, he's really struggling. He's only shooting 32% from the field.
Memphis State is hitting inside and outside. Right now they've got everything going their way.
Lego and Keith Lee has committed his 2nd personal foul. That is only the 3rd team foul against Memphis State. This game really moving quickly, as coming in will be Holmes. I mean from a clock standpoint.
Fouls 4, that means you're aggressive. Total of 6 points, fine.
As Baskerville Holmes comes in, you could expect that, I guess, if you had the clock running down. We're playing a 45-second shot clock, but that hasn't really been a factor.
I think Memphis State has done a good job getting Virginia Commonwealth to play at their pace. J.D. Barnett wants his team to look to the hoop, but he also wants to be very patient, get everybody involved, and they've taken a lot of quick shots here in this, early in this game.
Good point. Schlegel, 66% free throw shooter. J.D. Barnett trying to encourage his troops on as We may have somebody in the lane prematurely. They got another crack at it. By the way, near the conclusion of today's game, Doug Collins and I will be selecting a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game, and Chevrolet donates a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of each school. So Schlegel gets a reprieve out of Bay Shore, New York. He kind of brings his lunch pail and hard hat to every game. He's a blue-collar worker. I
really like the way he passes the ball from the high post. I think he's a big factor in the success of these guards being able to take their men inside and use their height advantage down low.
Nice batted up pass by Wake. Duncan on the retrieve. They're just still not really underway. They're a little shaky out there. Here's Lamb again hitting.
That's a big shot there for Orlando Lamb. Get him going now.
Lamb averaging almost 17 points a game, and it's 27-16. They're clawing back in, but they've got a ways to go yet. Willie Beckton, we saw him against Kansas this year. He had 26 points. And Askew now has hit 2 in a row. I checked that. Boyd, correction. Boyd has hit 2 in a row, and that may help his shooting for the rest of the season. Trying to get into their offense now. They like that motion offense. They make 4 or 5 passes before they shoot the ball. They haven't done that yet. It'll be a 3-second lane violation.
Gary, this is a look at the signals coming in. Assistant coach David Hobbs is going to flash a card to his team. That's going to tell them the defensive sequence he wants to play. Also, they have offensive cards. So they've got this game down to a science, and the key is that the team reacts very well to it and adjusts.
There's the steal. Wait. And that's going to be off of Memphis State.
VCU has forced 2 turnovers in the last 2 possessions by Memphis State.
In those turnovers, look at this, 12 points Memphis State has scored off of turnovers.
And Virginia Commonwealth normally does not turn the ball over, averaging only 12 turnovers a ball game.
Substitution getting ready to come in for VCU. Now they're playing a little bit more of the type of game you'd expect. The problem is, though, they're down 29-16. They don't have a lot of time to do this.
Well, Memphis State's packed into that zone now. Now you're going to have to beat them from the perimeter.
Duncan hits. So Lamb and Duncan now hit back-to-back baskets. That's 6 points for Duncan. 29-18 the score. 5:23 left in the first half. Memphis State has games with Southern Mississippi, Louisville, Detroit in their regular season before the Metro Conference Tournament. You'll see that on CBS. Here's Baskerville. The man known as Batman.
Willie Beckton did a nice job there. He was trapped in the corner, started to throw the ball cross court. Calvin Duncan read it, and when he did, he pump faked and found Baskerville Holmes wide open underneath the basket for a layup.
It's just instances like that that shows me that VCU still doesn't have their game plan ready. They're not ready to go yet.
It's like they're looking ahead and taking their eye off the ball.
Broken up, saved nicely inside by Wake, but he traveled with it. Let's go back to that last basket.
Willie Beckton in a double-team trap. Calvin Duncan is going to play the pass cross-court, and when he does, Baskerville Holmes sneaks in along the baseline for an easy score. Nice play there by Willie Beckton, and Baskerville Holmes finding the opening seam.
Holmes laid it in very smartly. He high jumped one time over 7'1", so he could get up and stuff that if he wanted to.
Gary, this Memphis State team is such a different ball club with Andre Turner. We saw them against Kansas without him.
There's a different guy, too. Bedford was non-existent in that Kansas game, and look at him here. He has 4 points. He's blocked a couple of shots.
Well, Andre Turner there saw him underneath the basket. A nice little alley-oop pass. That's the importance of having a very smart hitting point guard.
Turner just seems to bring Bedford into the game, doesn't he?
Yes, he
Lamb missing. Schlegel, that's another follow by Schlegel, and that we saw a lot of that in some films. He is inside. He's just kind of a fire plug and gets the job done.
VCU now back into that 3-2 zone. Coach Hobbs holding up card number 32.
Okay, what is 32 now?
3-2 zone.
Okay, here is Beckton. You get him started, look out.
Well, you've got Dwight Boyd on the wing, who's hit 2 jumpers. Willie Beckton, who we know can shoot the ball, just hit a jumper.
Beckton just committed the foul. He fouls Schlegel. Askew will check back in. That's the first on Willie Beckton. Franco comes in for Calvin Duncan. A timeout. 3:44 to go in this very fast-moving first half of play. A 15-point lead for Memphis State. Franco's a good shooter. They got him in there. And Schlegel for the baseline. Boy, I like him.
He's been the key right now to keeping this ball club close. He's had 2 key tip-ins, hit a couple outside jump shots. And right now, he's the reason they're in this ball game.
He has 10 of the 22 points now. for VCU. Well, they'll pick up Becton over there. They remember that game against Kansas that he shot everything in. He said he's first today. Bedford on the floor, the scramble, a held ball, and the arrow is pointing towards Memphis State. They'll get it on the alternating held ball.
You see the difference in experience. William Bedford that time caught the ball in the post. Gary, what was the first thing he did? He put it on the floor. Keith Lee, the All-American, catches it, keeps it up high, turns and shoots it, and you negate little people when you keep the ball up.
I guess that's because he's played, what, 4 years. That makes a little difference.
Big difference.
Here's Duncan penetrating off the wake to Schlegel. Blocked by Bedford. Followed nicely that time by Michael Brown. Very few multiple shots or follow shots have they gotten in this game. 35-24, Memphis State, 2:40 left in the first half. Halftime, we're going to have highlights of that Georgetown, Connecticut game. Here's Baskerville Holmes, rebound by Duncan. On the break, nice turnaround jumper by Brown, and a semblance now of a comeback.
Shows me something there, Gary. What his first shot, he took it in. He did not pump fake. He got it blocked. That time, nice pump fake. 2 guys left their feet. He gathered himself and scored.
15-point lead all of a sudden now has been cut to 9. Broken up. Lamb batting it out of bounds, and now Turner and Lee will come back. Let's go back on that last sequence by the Rams.
Calvin Duncan's going to penetrate. He takes the ball to Mike Schlegel, who gets his shot blocked, but Michael Brown following it up off the glass.
And it comes to Bedford. Schlegel comes up. They have a chance to cut it to 7. Duncan with Turner back. Calvin Duncan pulls it out to his backcourt mate, and Lamb nails it, and it's a 7-point game.
This is experience. This is a team who's got age, who played together, who hostile environment does not affect. And I really give a lot of credit to J.D. Barnett.
Boy, is J.D. Barnett like a cheerleader over there a moment ago. He's up, jumping around, encouraging his troops on. He sees now they can make a move. Here's Bedford, follows his own. There's nobody to play up there with Bedford.
Well, Keith Lee just made a great interior pass. He was on the perimeter, touch pass to William Bedford. And Dana Kirk saw Keith Lee out of the ballgame, realized he needed to get him back in before the half.
Bedford with 6 points in the game. Duncan off to Schlegel. Bedford in his face, but it didn't make any difference. 12 points now for Mike Schlegel. He's leading the Rams. Momentary to lay the ball into the crowd. Dana Kirk's team looked like they were coasting to a relatively easy first half, and all of a sudden now his team leading by only 7. VCU has hit 4 in a row from the field.
Their shooting starting to heat up, but they got off to a miserable start, but now shooting like the team that is 17th ranked in the nation.
Well, some of that maturity now is starting to set in a little bit. Here's Lee. Look at the double team on him. Didn't bother him. 12 points for the All-American. Calvin Duncan breaking the pressure. Schlegel. Here's Lamb. Nice reach in by Turner. Saved beautifully by Calvin Duncan to Schlegel. And Bedford's got it, and he's fouled by Mike Schlegel. That's his first 15 foul. Very few fouls in this first half, and we have only 36 seconds left in it.
See if Memphis State now will go for 1 shot. 36 seconds. I think Dana Kirk has called out 1 shot. He wants to go in either 9 or 11 up, not give Virginia Commonwealth a chance now to cut the lead back down to 7.
Turner facing a little bit of pressure. You see the time, a 9-point lead for Memphis State. Tigers in there with their starting 5, as is VCU. VCU, they only use about 6, maybe 7 guys. On the other hand, Memphis State has really been very effective in the paint.
Shot 10 for 12, which is an outstanding statistic. Keith Lee shooting very well inside.
So there's the stat, 63 by Memphis State, 47 for VCU. Now the turnovers, Virginia Commonwealth committed 10 of them. A lot of those coming early in the game, but the significance of this is what Memphis State did with those.
Well, they were able to get 14 points off those turnovers. Virginia Commonwealth only averages 12 turnovers a game, so they were way over their average.
Well, we mentioned earlier, VCU, when they shoot below 50%, they get in trouble.
Well, I think they're like 18-1 on the season.
Let's check it now. They have Holmes, Turner, Askew, Lee, Bedford. That's the 5 that started. And for VCU, they opened with the same 5 that had the ball game, with Brown and Wake starting at forwards, Schlegel at center, Duncan along with Lamb in the backcourt. Here comes Duncan. Calvin Duncan in that first half having a little shooting difficulty. hit 3 of 5 eventually. There is Lamb, and Lamb coming up now. He has hit 3 of 7 in the ball game. 41-32. They hit their first shot of the first half, and then after that, the thing came apart to them as they missed their next 10, and that's going to be off a Turner. And Memphis State not starting very effectively.
That's one of those turnovers that's unforced that just drives the coach crazy. Throwing the ball cross court against the zone. Andre Turner not expecting it, and now Virginia Commonwealth can claw back to within 7.
41-32. Brown, he loves to shoot from there, and he buries it, and they're right back within 7 points again.
We have us a ball game right now. VCU's going to drop back into that 3-2 zone. Look for Keith Lee to go to the corner, try to form a triangle with William Bedford inside. Michael
Brown now with 10 points inside. They use that inside attack. Bedford doesn't get, but he's fouled. What was that stat they had in the paint in the first half?
10 for 12. Only missed 2 shots. Here's the importance of Keith Lee. William Bedford setting the screen for Keith Lee on the baseline. The defensive man has to sort of edge out to try to get to the area of Keith Lee. Andre Turner seeing that, spotting it, throwing an alley-oop pass to William Bedford. That's the importance of a Keith Lee. He opens up so many things for his other players on the floor.
Bedford with 6 points, 5 rebounds. That was the second foul, by the way, on Schlegel. Bedford's a good free throw shooter. He's a 71%er. Gets the second end of it. 42-34, Memphis State. A little pressure now by the Tigers.
Memphis State really not been able to press much today because they haven't been to the free throw line. They like to press off free throws, but they haven't been there.
Calvin Duncan gets it back out to Brown. Here is Lamb. He hit one earlier, and he's got another one, and he's back on track.
You can see him right now motioning with his fist. Let's go, guys. They've hit their first 3 outside shots, and they look to be an altogether different ball club in the second half.
You can see he wants the basketball now. 42-36, the closest they've been in a long time. 6 points. Bedford. And that'll be off of Keith Lee. Now, Keith Lee starting very slowly in the second half, but watch him down the stretch. He'll be asking for the basketball.
Dana Kirk trying to encourage his team. Right now, they're a little sluggish coming out of this halftime break.
VCU's hit all 3 of their shots they've taken in the second half. 42-36, Memphis State, 18 minutes to go in the game. Duncan changed it. Beautiful pass off that time. Blocked. Out it comes to Turner. Looked like Wake had an easy 2 inside.
William Bedford came from nowhere. That's 5 blocked shots in the game. VCU has not blocked the shot.
Steal attempt by Duncan. Askew, 6'5". He weighs close to 225 pounds.
Very active VCU out in this zone.
Into Bedford. Lean in. Schlegel with a rebound. Schlegel leads his team in rebounding. He's 5th in the Sun Belt with an 8.2 average. Brown out to Schlegel. All of a sudden, we have a 4-point game.
You know, I'm so impressed with this VCU team because every guy on this floor touches the basketball. They're all confident and they can all shoot it. When you have that kind of balance, you don't have to rely on one guy to keep you in the ball game.
Schlegel with 14 points and showing he can go outside and shoot the jumper.
Keith Lee now on the inside. They're going to have to take advantage of his size, and there he was on the perimeter.
Memphis State has missed all 3 of their shots in the second half.
Memphis State going to a double low post on the inside, trying to free Keith Lee and William Bedford for an easy layup.
Into Keith, and he's fouled.
Smart play there by Andre Turner. They've been on the perimeter, Gary, 2 times in a row. Keith Lee goes inside, doing what he does best, posting up, and Neil Wake is just no match for him size-wise. And Keith, again, Gary, did not put the ball on the floor where the smaller man could get to it. He had to foul him, and he'll shoot 2 free throws.
Wake committing the foul, his second. We talked about the experience of Keith Lee. You think about 4 years of wars that he has gone through. I remember him as a freshman. The NCAAs, they lost that first year to Villanova. He got in foul trouble. They might have won that one.
You know, it's amazing. I heard a couple people talking yesterday about the pro scouts have looked differently at Keith Lee since he cut his hair. They said he's like a different ball player. And we saw him in Kansas 2 weeks ago, and we didn't recognize him without the big afro that he normally had.
He still needs to work, though, on that leg strength.
I think for him to be a great pro, he's got to get lower body development so he can push people out inside.
44-38, back to a 6-point lead for Memphis State. 16.5 minutes to go in this game. They respect Schlegel. Look at Bedford way out on him now.
That just opens it up for the inside people.
And that'll be a foul on Bedford. Bedford committing only his first personal.
Gary, you don't like to be redundant, but the difference in VCU using the ball fake to freeze that defensive man, when you've got a shot blocker and you freeze him, so we get a look at it here. Schlegel's going to drive. He's going to use the pump fake. When he did, he froze Bedford, got him to stand straight up. When a guy stands up straight, Gary, he does not have the leaping and timing that he normally has when he's in the crowd.
Also, he uses his body so well to protect the ball. Coming in is Alvin Robinson, 6'9" freshman. Schlegel with 14 points and 4 rebounds. Missed his first free throw of the game. He was 2 of 2 before that. Schlegel is the 13th player in VCU history to go over 1,000 points in his career this year. He just gets it done for this team.
Michael Brown is on the verge of being number 4. That would be an unbelievable statistic to have 4 1,000-point scores on the same team. I don't think it's ever been done in the NCAA before with 4 people.
Turner having a little difficulty. Baskerville Holmes to Lee. Great body control.
How many times have we seen Keith Lee, when they need him, come through? He seems like he's one of those guys, Gary, you talked about on the top of the show, that the more that's needed out of him, the more he gives you.
16 points for Lee. 46-39. Lamb, now that shot, he didn't want to take it. He got in between on it. Here comes Turner. The little general, they call him. He'll pop one. So after getting within 4, all of a sudden now it's back to a 9-point lead. Keith Lee woke him up again.
Well, he went inside and got him going.
Duncan, beautiful pass for Robinson. Robinson will follow again. That basket would have counted had it gone, and he's fouled. And I believe Lee's committed that. That would be his 3rd. 3 fouls on the All-American.
The great penetration.
The third side to Dreiling. Kennedy on him. Kellogg. Tisdale rebounds, and Oklahoma with a chance for the lead. Sooners led most of the first half. Kansas prevailing in the second half. Kennedy traveling.
Robinson only shooting 46% from the line. Hit that one dead center. Lee used to have a lot of foul difficulty. He's cut it down this year, but now with 3, and Dana Kirk has made no move to get him out of there at the 15-10 mark. Misses the second, and Lee with a rebound. 15 minutes to go. 8-point lead for Memphis State. Askew in the corner goes to Holmes. That's a tough shot. Schlegel the rebound. A little indecisive. Lamb on the move. Very difficult turnaround jumper. And back to a 6-point lead.
Around him, and the foul will be on Hunter.
Froze and Andre Turner with his body, spun off the dribble, hit a nice jump shot in the lane.
10 points now for Lamb.
It's very important now with Memphis State having Keith Lee in the post that they are aware of him. Oh, basketball home.
Turner, the same, has called that play. He was vocally yelling at Holmes, and Holmes went for the back door.
Again, the importance of Keith Lee. The defense so aware of him. Baskerville Holmes just roaming on the baseline.
Duncan in trouble. Off it comes to Askew. Turner. 15 points for Turner, and he can shoot the ball from outside.
The little guy's playing a magnificent basketball game. He's under control. He's hitting the outside shot.
Here is Lamb dishing off to Robinson, blocked by Lee, and Lee's committed his 4th foul. That could swing this game in a hurry. Lee with 4.
That right there could be a big momentum stopper for this Memphis State team. Without Keith Lee, their inside attack really grinds to a halt.
So Lee will go out. Willie Fecton comes in for him. Lee's upset at himself. He thought he got the clean block. He leaves with 16 points and 4 rebounds.
there should have been a technical.
Very well.
He felt that Keith Lee was very demonstrative after he picked up that fourth foul and should have awarded a technical.
Robinson, as we said, a very poor free throw shooter, but he got the roll. He's done a pretty good job since coming in here. He's challenged him inside, got Lee in foul trouble.
He gives him a little size. Without him in the ball game, they are a very small team.
Schlegel had it for a moment, and Holmes comes up with it. 52-43, Memphis State. Let's watch now and see what happens with Lee on the bench if Memphis State can maintain this.
This is where William Bedford really has to apply himself in low. When he catches the ball, go up with it strong.
VCU really knows where those shots are coming from, don't they? When it comes to Bedford, they play that defense so effectively. Lamb under control. Get him handle the ball, would you? Rebound Schlegel. He's in the right position a lot.
There's something about certain players, Gary, always in the right spot at the right time, and Schlegel's not one of those players blessed with a lot of quickness or tenacity.
17 points for Schlegel, 52-45, 7-point lead for Memphis State. Turner again.
I don't think he's touched the rim today on an outside shot. That ball is touching nothing but the bottom of the net.
17 points for Turner. Schlegel up to Duncan. Alvin Duncan. Rebound clear by Andre Turner. Look at that pass. The Bedford foul coming across. Coming to foul Michael Brown. First on Brown. Third team foul against VCU.
Banks at home, 68-66. Another clutch goal by the Sooners, 14 for Bowie.
Right now, Andre Turner has to be a strong consideration for our MVP. The way he has sparked this team, shooting from outside. He's hit 8 of 9 from the field.
We talked about on the top of the show the importance of him getting into the Memphis State tempo, and he's done that today. He's got them up and down the floor. In fact, that last shot by Calvin Duncan was a little ill-advised shot. I thought he shot it a little bit too quick for the circumstances.
Bedford gets 1 of 2, 55-45. They're leaving Schlegel alone. They can't do that. Somebody missed up on that one. They did not pick up Schlegel.
How about it when your center can step out on the floor and shoot the ball like that? Does that give you a dimension?
57-45. Holmes to Askew. Saved by Duncan. Askew's not the guy I don't think they want to loop one of those up to, try to put it away.
No, he's not going to be alley-ooping.
There's a foul on Turner. That's only his first. Turner, as we said, missed the Kansas game. His father had passed away, and he was at the funeral. And what a difference he is in this team. 11:50 to go in the game. Memphis State leads at 55-47.
I see you enjoy the finer things in life.
Look at him hang on the rim. J.D. Barnett felt that should be a technical. And here on the other end, we're going to see a pump fake. Alvin Robinson's going to go up. Keith Lee does to get the ball up top, but he fouls the man with his body. That was a good call. That was Keith Lee's fourth foul. And set him on the bench as we see Keith Lee right now relaxing, and I'm sure wanting to get back in that ball game as soon as possible.
So you'd grade them 1 for 2 on that sequence.
That's not bad, right? 50%.
Depends on whether you're grading on the curve.
That's right.
11:50 to go. I'm Gary Bender along with Doug Collins. Memphis State led by as many as 15 in the first half. Virginia Commonwealth cut it to 4. Now they find themselves down by 8. Lamb and Duncan still in the backcourt. Brown, Schlegel, and Wake, the original starting 5, and Lee still on the bench, so Willie Beckman's in there joining the other 4 starters. There's a nice attempt by Askew on the steal. It'll be the Rams basketball. We're going to have a timeout. 11:37 to go. Memphis
in the ball game today. His season high 19, career high 22 points. He's been the big little man today.
The little general. 11:37 left. You see it? VCU will inbounds the basketball. Lee still on the bench with 4 fouls. When do you think they'll bring him back?
I think they'll try to wait as long as possible, maybe 7 minutes. They don't want him to foul out with 8, 9, or 10 minutes to go in this ball game, even if it's just a psychological thing to know he's available.
Boy, Duncan just took Askew inside. 1-on-1, and he gets the shot to drop. It's a 6-point lead, 8 points for Duncan.
Calvin Duncan just using his experience. Vincent Askew has physical size as well, but Calvin Duncan just took him to the lane and shot it right over the top.
Askew weighs 225 pounds. Here is Bedford, lean in. Follows his own, but wait a minute, that may be a foul. Let's see, it's going to go on Wake. Neil Wake committing the foul, his third.
Get the ball to your star. Kennedy playing low post position.
Clark, not a good pass, and Manning makes the steal and the foul.
Over the Sooners. Sooners have a record in the Big 8 for consecutive wins in conference play that could be shattered if that continues. I think Billy Tubbs is very calm on the sideline today.
I doubt it.
Here's Bedford. Askew tries to follow. Lamb brings it down. Well, they can get back within 4 again. Turner. No call. Barnett thought he should have had a foul and had a chance for a 3-point play, but I think he's glad to get the 2 points.
I personally thought that Rolando Lamb jumped into Andre Turner, but he held his ground, but it's not the way the officials saw it. A 4-point ball game.
10:25 left. Turner trying to spread him out a little bit now, get that ball inside.
VCU playing man-to-man this time down the floor, trying to confuse Memphis State, keeping them off balance.
They haven't played as much of that this year, have they?
They have not. They've done a lot of multiple defenses. Willie Beckton very quiet today.
Askew follows. Hit by Bedford. Bedford with 10 points, trying to take up some of that slack with Lee on the bench.
Willie Beckton put on a shooting clinic the last time we saw him in Kansas, 26 points off the bench, but he's been very quiet today.
They haven't allowed him to shoot it either. They're moving over and really picking him up in a hurry. Here's Duncan, very tough shot, but he has the confidence now. 57-53. 10 points for Duncan. 3 men now in double figures. Lamb, Duncan, and Schlegel. Steal by Duncan. They can cut it to 2. For Brown. Askew knocked down, but again, no foul.
Vincent Askew had the ball lazily over his head. Calvin Duncan picked his pocket, drove the length of the floor. Dished off State. The important thing is, though, Gary, if they lose him early, it could really have a psychological effect the other way. And I'm sure Dana Kirk right now has his fingers crossed that Keith Lee can withstand this late rush.
Well, they lost the ball. John Wilfong has come into the ball game. Beckton's in there, Turner, Lee, and Bedford. But the turnover now gives the Rams a chance to tie it up. Well, what a comeback after missing 10 straight shots in the early part of the game. Lamb wants to tie it up. Rebound, Beckton. There's the card.
That signifies the 32 defense was the 3-2 zone.
The fans are on their feet now. And it goes to Keith Lee, and as he wheels in, he is fouled, and Lee came down kind of
Beer with these artesian.
a little bit of pain. That foul will be the second foul on Brown.
Keith Lee's going to take a nice pass from Willie Beckton. He's going to spin to the middle. When he does, Michael Brown comes down to help, trying to draw the offensive foul. He was late getting there. Good call by the official. And Memphis State will inbound the ball as they're not in the bonus yet.
That team foul-wise is 5 against VCU. Here's Wilfong, who had a brother and uncle who played at Memphis State. Lee, turnaround jumper. Schlegel was up for the rebound, and it's going to be a foul on Schlegel, I believe.
I think they called it on Neil Wake.
Did they? Okay, Wake.
There's a 3-point spread, but 1:40 left. It's very close. So here comes Craig. Did that ball reach its seated? Did that ball reach its apex?
They did. Fairbury, Nebraska, Southeast Community College before coming to Virginia Commonwealth.
Memphis State has to be very careful here and not exclusively look for Keith Lee. If someone else has a shot, they've got to be confident to take it.
Lee again. The franchise.
That was a great turnaround shot. Virginia Commonwealth trying to come over and draw a charge on him, but the official would not have anything to do with that.
Back to a 4-point lead now for Memphis State.
At that time, he really shook off Riley.
VCU adjusting down to this zone. Duncan. Rebound effectively by Brown. Nice change of hand.
Overacted, obviously.
1:29 left.
Great player, isn't he, Gary?
Yes, he is. Into Lee again. The money man. 20 points for Lee. This game of Anderson
At 72%.
We can catch a picture of his hands. He has tremendous giant hands. See the size of them?
There's no surprise what Memphis State is doing right now. They're going to Keith Lee.
Brown again. Wilfong has it. And he's going to be fouled by Calvin Duncan. That's the 17th foul, so they're going to start shooting free throws now. Second foul on Duncan. Wilfong's an excellent free throw shooter. Syracuse still not able to overhaul the top-ranked team in the country. They were going to hand Johnny.
Oh, I thought they was maybe going to call.
Who lost a couple of tough ones on the road before beating Kansas State, still leading the Sooners. But there's not any air to breathe in that place. And Duke leading Georgia Tech in the ACC.
Duke lost a tough ball game the other day to NC State. NC State beat them at home, and they were down 17 and came back to Cameron Indoor Stadium. Great rally.
Boy, if anybody that Dana Kirk would like to have for the line, it's this guy right now, Wilfong. We mentioned he's such a fine free throw shooter, and he just buried that first one, shooting 86%. Felt like he should have redshirted him. He's physically not as strong as he's going to be, but he's going to be a fine player for this Memphis State team.
VCU, very important stretch of the ball game. They really worked hard to get back, and they can't let it slip away from them now. They need to get a nice shot here, work the ball around, possibly get a fifth foul on Keith Lee.
Here's Schlegel working on Lee, and Bedford comes over to support him. Schlegel comes up with it and somehow puts
Half has kept him in the ball game.
Wood Davis replaces Sean.
not a very nice term, but it's a very effective way to play.
VCU has changed defenses. They're now in a 1-3-1. They're going to try to force Keith Lee outside a little bit. They're going to pin him down low and try to keep two guys around him now at all times. The 3-2 defense was giving him a little bit too much mobility.
Wilfong from outside. Boy, what a nice substitution that is for Dana Kirk.
That's the importance of coaches knowing their personnel and what guys can do. And Wilfong, an excellent shooter, as well as a free throw shooter, just knocked in about a 20-foot jumper.
Back to a 6-point lead, 5:53 left in the game. Ram into Schlegel. He wanted to go up against Lee. Duncan did not shoot that ball very well. Robinson comes out with a rebound to Schlegel. Look at Schlegel, always under control. Shot clock hasn't been a factor in this game. We're now down to 27 seconds. Sun Belt Conference, the first conference to use the 45-second shot clock. Backing it out now. Here's Brown. Robinson battling Wilfong, and who's going to be off of? Going to be off of Wilfong. Going to have a substitution now. Wake will come back in. Wake playing with 4 personal.
48 seconds. Big shot.
That play.
He did a nice job in that sequence. He got one offensive rebound to keep their hopes alive down low, and then he got another offensive rebound as it went off Wilfong. So good hustle there.
Baskerville Holmes, as you can see, coming in for Willie Beckton. 5:08 to go in the game. A 6-point lead for Memphis State.
VCU needs to penetrate against this zone, not pass the ball perimeter. Try to find a seam, force 2 guys to pick him up and dish off.
Schlegel had to change his shot. Bedford in his face, but it's going to go off for Memphis State again. VCU will reset it with a fresh shot clock. Brown brings it out to Duncan. Duncan's only hit 5 of 10. He's been taking those tough shots from outside. And he's fouled. And they're going to give him 2 shots.
That every experiment.
That's a very important call because they're not in the bonus yet. Calvin Duncan is going to penetrate, try to use his upper body strength to get this shot off. John Wilfong reaches in down low and knocks it loose. And they will rule that it's a two-shot foul. Dana Kirk not very happy with that call.
That's the first foul on Wilfong and 5 team fouls against Memphis State. To back up what you're saying, they would not have
this could be coming. Gary, this could be a very important sequence, too, because Virginia Commonwealth really struggled to get it.
Left 39 seconds.
They got offensive rebounds and are now going to be able to convert. He's at least got one free throw, but you can't go dry during that spell and get Memphis State an opportunity to come down and get the 8-point lead.
Duncan, a very good free throw shooter, shooting 80%. In fact, he is going to set a school record, it looks like, career-wise. He has 82 for his 4 years. Got the roll on the first one. He buries the second one, and they're back within 4. Turner was looking backdoor to Holmes that time. It didn't develop. Wilfong, who hit one there a moment ago. Turner's 8 of 9 shooting. Wilfong again.
Hit him right away. Get him. Get him. Good pass. Oh, this is the guys they want him to have the ball. I committed an intentional foul. Even if it's intentional. Nope.
Dana Kirk wanted to put a lot of pressure on these guards, but they just do such a fine job.
Followed beautifully by Wake. Wake timed it very nicely. He's a left-hander, but he tipped with the right hand.
VCU now, the coach calling out the 13 defense, which will probably be a 1-3-1.
His first 2 points for Wake, but he doesn't have to score to help this ball club. Turner back to Wilfong. Look at that. 8 points. 69-63. Wilfong has hit all 3 of his shots in the field and 2 of 2 from the line. Lamb from outside. That's going to be Wake's 5th foul. Neil Wake is fouled out of the ball game. He only had 2 points, but starting
on the bench.
For this VCU ball club.
Well, they still are over there deciding where they've got him in now. They've got Lamb, Schlegel, Duncan, and
it's a foul and goaltending, and Kellogg now the star of this game. Kennedy with a foul. And the fans here in Jayhawk country are going wild.
Both teams will be in the NCAA. I believe Missouri will be in the NCAA, and possibly a 4th team from the Big
East. Packed back to keep him from catching the ball, and Wilfong has just measured a jump shot and knocked 3 in a
personal foul, as Bedford will go to the free throw line. There's Wake.
The importance of being able to shoot free throws down the stretch of a ball game, especially now when it looks like Virginia Commonwealth is going to have to start fouling to catch up in this game, although there is still 3:22 to go. They're going to be down 8 points now. If they score, they're going to have to start thinking about maybe Gary spotting someone to try to foul and hope for some free throw misses.
Bedford hits them both. Dana Kirk said about Bedford, he's still learning to play the game. He did not play his senior year in high school. Schlegel, good ball movement. Nice recovery by Brown. Michael Brown cuts it back to 6.
All the Memphis State players on the floor now. Excellent free throw shooters, all in the 70%. Kansas beating Oklahoma. Big win for Kansas, although probably will not be a factor in the league race.
But they may meet again in the Big 8 tourney. We're going to have it right here in CBS.
I look forward to that.
Kansas with their 22nd win of the year against 6 losses. That ends a long victory scheme in the Big 8 for Oklahoma. Turner, baseline to Holmes. lead, and he's fouled. The basket will count.
Andre Turner is going to penetrate against this zone, draw the defense, dish to the corner. Keith Lee, great position inside Michael Brown with a little touch foul against Keith Lee, who has the opportunity now for a three-point play, which really could be costly to this Virginia Commonwealth comeback.
He came back in at the 9:09 mark, his team leading by 2. Now at the 2:30 mark, his team leading by 8 and maybe 9. He has 23 points.
That's why the young man is an All-American. Do it when they need to.
We'll have a lot of time now. Lamb from outside. 74-67, Lamb with 14. They'll walk it up now. They're in no hurry.
They're going to put a little more pressure on now. Man-to-man defense. They're going to have to try to force maybe a 5-second counter, a turnover. Good ball handling by Memphis State on the floor. Good free throw shooting. It's a tough combination to come back against.
Not to mention playing on the road, too. This would be 20 in a row for Memphis State at home over the last 2 years. Unbeaten this year, 13-0. The only losses to South Carolina and Kansas. Hard to figure that South Carolina game. Kansas, they didn't have this guy, Turner. Bedford with 14.
The importance of William Bedford on the offensive board there. Follow-up shot, slam dunk. 9-point Memphis State lead.
Very impressive by Bedford.
Andre Turner's going to get hung in the air. He finally has to take the shot. Nobody blocking out William Bedford. He goes strong to the basket and dunks it. And going to see another angle. Again, Andre Turner had no place to go. William Bedford just skying for the slam dunk, and Dana Kirk will talk to his team.
A lot of people benefit from Turner, but probably Bedford the most. Bedford took that card and slammed it.
He's been a very big force. Gary, we talked about the games that they've lost. He has not played well, and today's come out 14 points. More importantly, when Keith Lee was in foul trouble, he stayed very active inside and gave them a little bit of a lift until Keith Lee could come back in the ballgame.
VCU with 1:21 left in the game, trailing 76-67. Schlegel has 21 points and 7 rebounds, gets it off the Lamb. VCU team will be very tough in the tournament. There'll be no shot clock, and that's their style of play. Here is Brown. Boy, it's tough in there. Bedford is shaken up. He got an eye, something in the eye. VCU getting the basket, and Bedford getting a eye full of either an elbow or something. Timeout is called with 1:05. And we're going to take a break. 76-69 for the field, and also 7 assists. And a check in the amount of $1,000 will be donated by Chevrolet to each college's general scholarship fund to further assist qualified students in all chosen academic fields. 76-69, and we're going to have a foul instantaneously on Andre Turner, committed by Brown, his 4th.
We now are going to go into our one-minute free throw shooting contest now, Gary. And I'd say I'm a big fan of the international rule late in a ball game. If you want to take the ball out after you've won the ball game or you've got the game in hand like this, if you don't want to shoot free throws, I think you should have the right to take the ball out of bounds. I don't think it necessarily should become a free throw shooting contest.
There's a lot of discussion about that. Ed Stites of the Rules Committee has been quoted as saying they're going to consider that. Here's Turner at the line. They have games now at Southern Mississippi. They play Louisville here at Detroit. One win or a Virginia Tech loss would hand them the regular season conference title in the Metro. On the other hand, VCU has to win Monday at Old Dominion. If they had won that, UAB would also win. They'd still get the #1 seed, and there is going to be a foul. Brown committing the foul.
Excuse me, Gary, how about the play John Wilfong just made? Calvin Duncan's going to penetrate and try to shoot the ball. He strips him going up cleanly, takes it down the floor, is fouled. It's going to be a 2-shot foul. They ruled it intentional, and now he's going to the free throw line, shoot for his career-high tie of 10.
Maybe we can give a #2 MVP. We gave the #1 award to Turner, but Wilfong, maybe he's our second half MVP.
Well, he's really done the job. And again, you said that Dana Kirk looks like a genius today, putting him in the basketball game. Vincent Askew and Dwight Boyd, two freshmen who were highly talented, have played a lot for this team, but Wilfong today hit 3 big jump shots and 2 free throws, and it was desperately needed, and VCU was mounting a strong comeback.
Brown, who fouled out, had 16 points, 4 rebounds. Well, Wilfong, we mentioned his heritage here at Memphis State. His father, Gene, played here. Uncle Win, remember Win Wilfong, who was such an outstanding player? You don't remember that? Oh, come on, you're not that young. They were Tiger stars in the 50s. You remember the 50s, don't you?
I was just barely born then, Gary.
Okay. Franco's going to come back in, replacing the fouled out Brown.
You have 30 seconds to make a substitution.
They took it all.
Going to take it all, talk to his team. You know, I'm impressed with J.D. Barnett. He walked over to Michael Brown and put his arms around him. He's an intense man, but he also knows when to acknowledge the player's efforts.
Now, that's the only thing Wilfong has done wrong today. Prior to that, he'd hit 2 from 2 from the line, 3 from 3 from the field. Nobody's perfect, right?
That was a 2-shot foul, or Andre Turner would have had him another bucket.
86%, and he missed them both. Lamb, air ball. Lee comes out of there with it. 40 seconds to go. I think they made Baskerville's day. They forgot to play defense, so Lamb went down, put one up, and scored, and VCU calls a timeout. That's their last timeout. They were celebrating, and Lamb just took it down.
You can't quit this ball game. There's no time for celebration until that clock says 00. I've seen too many crazy things happen late in the ball game.
I want to take this opportunity to recognize the people who have been working with us here. Our executive producer is Kevin O'Malley. Produced by David Dinkins Jr. Our director, John McDonough. Hoppy. Our associate director, Robert Rowe. Al Schutzman, along with Lisa Elias. Certainly appreciate their help. Mark Radulovich always makes it sound very well, along with Steve Cunningham. And it's been fun. And we're getting right down to the stretch now. We've got a couple of more weekends and then the NCAA tournament play right here on CBS. Don't forget, following this one, we'll be going back to New York and joining Pat O'Brien. We have the 3rd round of the Doral Open to follow. Booster House, the last we checked, was ahead 600 in that 3rd round. He had 4 others after him, 2 strokes off the pace. The Metro Conference tournament, which will be played in Freedom Hall in Louisville, will be on CBS. And that should be quite a tournament because Louisville, you know how tough they'll be at home. And you've got this ball club plus a Virginia Tech team, Florida State.
We were talking yesterday, the Memphis State people, they've got to play Louisville at home yet before the tournament, and then they go in, they can play Florida State if the seeds remain the same. Louisville and Virginia Tech, they do not have an easy road to that tournament.
They had the tournament here last year, and Memphis State won that one. And they had to play Virginia Tech in the final. Bedford inbound. VCU has no timeouts left. Turner bats it off of Robinson. J.D. Barnett says it's our basketball.
He's not giving up, believe me.
He sure isn't. They're down by 7 with 22 seconds.
That's why, you take the ball to the basket and get fouled. It's a 4-point ball game. Believe me, don't celebrate too early when you have to shoot free throws at the end of a college basketball game.
You sound like a coach.
I've been there before.
Lamb, lean in. Going to be a charge on Lamb. Wilfong drawing the charge. That second foul on Lamb with 18 seconds. So Virginia Commonwealth going to suffer their 5th loss, it looks like, of the year. When that Sun Belt Conference tournament is the 1st and 3rd of March. They'll wrap up their season early and get ready for the NCAAs. That'll be a 2-shot foul. Franco committing the foul.
How do you think that affects a team, Gary, playing the tournament so early and then have to wait to the NCAA? Do you think that's a factor?
Well, it's very, very difficult, I think, to lay off that long, but they've done it before. It's not the first year the Sun Belt has done that, and you remember UAB coming out of there and doing so well a few years ago. Sun Belt is starting to get some of the recognition it richly deserves. Vic Bubas, who is the commissioner, also the chairman of the men's basketball committee, and he has created a lot of excitement in the Sun Belt. Don't hear a lot about them sometimes. The UAB, remember early in the year they won the Greater Alaska Shootout. Baskerville Holmes makes it 79-71. Lamb in Schlegel, added up and in on the rebound effort. After Bedford had blocked the shot, that's thrown away. It's still 5 seconds. They're still getting a little careless, Memphis State is.
William Bedford there got a little excited trying to throw the ball in. They don't need any more points right now. All they have to do is get the ball inbound, let VCU foul them, go down and shoot a free throw.
But they can't get one to Duncan. And J.D. Barnett upset. He felt that Franco made a very unwise pass there.
It's tough to catch that ball on the sideline like that, trying to keep 2 feet in bounds and catch it with one hand.
Look, he's still in this with 4 seconds to go. J.D. has not given up anything. This will do it.
How about that play by Keith Lee?
19 points for Andre Turner, our MVP. And Memphis State now is 22-2 with an 81-73 victory. Virginia Commonwealth now goes to 21-5. 81-73, Memphis State the winner. Now let's join Pat O'Brien in New York.
All right, Gary, thank you. From Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, let's take you out to the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, where St. John's is dominating Syracuse. Let's go to Brent Musburger up there with the final moments of that game.
And welcome those of you who watch Memphis State win again. We'll see that team in action against Louisville here on CBS next Saturday. Right now, there's 1 minute and 7 seconds to go, and St. John's will continue its #1 ranking in the land. This has been an extremely impressive St. John's team in action here against Syracuse. They're leading by 11 points, and they have dominated offensively and defensively. Rowe scores for Syracuse.
A nice play by Hawkins. Good hustle play, not giving up at all. On a second, just has to be very happy, and I think I agree with you. He's been eating some of that pasta. That sweater's getting a little big on him.
And a final score for the ACC by